Hello, Queens. How are you? Well, this month we are going to be talking about fearlessness. So I hope that you are feeling fearless, but even if you're not, we are going to get you to the point of fearless. I'm sure you've heard the saying that all of your dreams, everything that you want to accomplish, are on the other side of fear. And I truly believe that to be true. I believe that fearlessness is not the absence of fear, but it's having the attitude that I am not going to let fear stand in the way of me reaching any goal that I set out, of me reaching my destiny. Fear is going to have to get into the back seat and get out of this passenger seat and definitely get out of the driver's seat. So, we're going to talk about it this month and we're going to talk about how we make that happen practically. Because, as most of us are aware, fear is ubiquitous. Fear is used in this society to manipulate us, to oppress us, to control us, to make us feel things, to make us see things, to make us do things. Fear is one of the biggest things that's used. If you think about movies that you watch, there's always a villain in order to have a hero. And the villain is meant to bring fear out in you. It even goes a little bit deeper than that. For us as African American women, we know that from a genetic perspective, we have inherited some fear in our genetic code from our ancestors who had to deal with horrible, horrific things. And of course, they had fear in those situations. But the good news is we also inherited in our genetic code the ability to overcome that fear because we come from a people who know how to overcome. We come from a people who overcame danger in addition to fear because danger does exist. But I believe that fear is false evidence appearing real. Fear is not always real. It's something that we feel, emotions that elicit a certain response from us that we might feel are real. But the thing that I really want to explore with us this month is what is it costing us? What is it costing us not to be fearless? What is it costing us to sit in fear for too long? Of course, we're humans. We're going to experience fear. But when we sit there and let that fear in the driver's seat of our life instead of kicking it to the curb, what is that costing us? And I believe that we are ready as a group to stop paying that price. And so I have a few tools that I want to share to help us get to that point of fearlessness. Because, like I said, it's ubiquitous in society. We just went through a period of time where fear was being celebrated in terms of a holiday. We went through a period of time where fear was being used to manipulate people in terms of our election season. So we cannot completely avoid it. But how do we overcome it so that we maintain an attitude of fearlessness? So, one of the tools that I've come up with uses the acronym FEAR. And the F is for feelings. Sitting down and having a conversation with our feelings. Like, what am I actually feeling? Because sometimes it's dread, sometimes it's embarrassment, sometimes it's horror, sometimes it is apathy, just nothing. What am I feeling? And just looking at your feeling and saying, okay, I see that anxiety, you're here visiting me today. What's the purpose of your visit? Because our feelings do have a purpose. And when we can tap into the purpose of those feelings, then we can address it. And then recognizing, okay, are you here because of something that's going on in the present? Or are you here because of something that already happened and that's in the past? The E is evidence. What evidence do I have that this thing that I fear is actually real or truthful? What evidence do I have? And just really putting on your hat of an investigator or an attorney and examining the evidence. Because often there is no evidence. It's just something that we feel and we react to, and there's no evidence. And then the A is for assumptions. What assumptions am I making about things that are making me fearful? Am I assuming that things are not going to work out? Am I assuming that this situation is going to be painful? Am I assuming that people are out to get me? What are my assumptions? And then the last R, the best R, is refocusing or realigning with faith, hope, and love. At least one of those. If you can realign your mindset with faith or hope or love, then you can overcome the fear. Faith and fear cannot coexist. If you have faith, you don't have fear. If you're fearful, then you cannot have faith. I believe that love is the polar opposite of fear. We may feel that the opposite of fear is the lack of fear, but the opposite of fear is truly love. And when we tap into what would love say in this situation, how can I show love in this situation? We're able to overcome fear and hope. There's a scripture in the Bible that says in the last, what's left are these three: faith, hope, and love. And when we think about hope, what is it that we hope for? Not what is it that we're afraid of or we're trying to avoid, but what is it that we hope for? And when we can lean into our hope, when we can stand on our faith, and when we can magnify our love, we're able to overcome the fear so that we can have an attitude of fearlessness. The things that we can do and we can create and we can be are all on the other side of fearlessness.